Okay, quick disclaimer before I go into this review. If you talk loudly as you use your cell phone during a movie, I despise you. We were stuck in between two groups of people who were talking and using their phones, and it got to the point where I went to complain to the theater manager. That is ridiculous. The theater is a place of escapism, being able to enjoy the wonder of cinema. In short, don't be one of those people. Be better. Back to our regularly scheduled review of Avatar 2.
I'm about to bust. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the bathroom. Oh, good Lord!
You're drinking? Bet your ass I was. You try staying in there for 5 minutes sober.
13 years in the making for the first of 4 planned sequels of 2009's Avatar. And first on the sequel roadmap, after many detours and delays, we have Avatar: The Way of Water. I would call it an anticipated sequel, but that would be an understatement. In a few circles, there was excitement, but the general public had mostly forgotten about the series entirely. But here we are, in 2022, by the time this review is 2023. And after 3 hours and 12 minutes, I can safely say that this was truly an Avatar movie. And it represents the best and worst quality in James Cameron's filmmaking. Translation: this was a good film. Dare I say it may even be better than the first film in some ways. I guess to start the review off, the visuals in this film are absolutely amazing. No matter what the detractors say about the film, they will also agree that the visuals were outstanding. It makes it even better when you get to experience the film in 3D and IMAX. It makes the film come alive and give it that spunk. I adore it. However, the same cannot be said for the story. The story itself wasn't bad per se, but it didn't really feel impactful as I think that they wanted it to come off across. I will say the runtime of 3 hours didn't feel that long. They do use it to tell the story in a timely manner that didn't make for a boring watch, but it just felt like a setup for the 3 sequels we're gonna have coming up for the rest of the 2020s. Like, you remember in Predators where they said, oh, what's that plant do? Oh, don't worry, this plant, if you touch the toxin, it'll paralyze your entire body. They kind of had that with one of the animals that the humans collected, like the serum from it. They're like, this thing will not have you age at all. And I feel like, oh, that's gonna be a plot point in one of the sequels. Okay, Cameron, I see what you're doing. But it tried to be world building and it's like world and everything like that, and it worked to some extent, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't utilize it to its fullest potential in my opinion. And lastly, the characters. I'll start off by saying I thought the performances were good. Everyone did a good job with the roles and executed for what they were working with pretty well. The characters in the film weren't bad, but I feel like they weren't as memorable as they were maybe in the first film to an extent. Jake and Neytiri definitely took a backseat in this film to showcase their kids since they'll be the main focus in the future films. It was a bit disappointing to see them not do that much and be relatively toned down from their previous arcs in the first film. Like, for example, Jake in the first movie was very like stern military guy, but he was very charismatic, he was brave. In this one, I get that his character is supposed to be dad, but he kind of comes off like a wuss sometimes. He's like, oh no, what are you doing that? I told you to stay behind. And it's like he kind of seems like a coward in a bit until like maybe the last 15 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, that's very out of character for him because he would not be like that in the first movie. And Neytiri, she's just, you know, kind of like, I just want to fight, and she was kind of like that in the first film. She had a little bit more character, but they really toned her down until the last couple like action scenes where she kicked all the ass. But to follow the kids in this film, I found them to be very interesting. Firstly, they weren't annoying, so that's a bonus. And secondly, I feel like that they each have their own little trait and quirk that made them unique and fun to watch. However, the 2 characters I am skeptical about would be Spider and Kiri. Spider being a human who was raised on Pandora, he has a family tie that has him struggling to choose if he wants to be a Na'vi or a human, and I found that to be a bit out of place and a little bit unorganized to see what they really want to go with it there. And Kiri, who was Sigourney Weaver's character, was sure something. Her character will surely be a hot topic on the tales of the internet in the future films. Good God. Avatar: The Way of Water was released on December 16, 2022 on a budget ranging between $350 to $450 million. As of the recording / review on January 1st, 2022, it has grossed a grand total of $1.3 billion at the box office. Overall, Avatar: The Way of Water is a fine sequel to the OG film. Was it worth the 13-year wait? No, not really, but it still was a film that maintained my interest and made me curious for the future stories to be told in this universe. And I'm going to give Avatar: The Way of Water 8.5 out of 10. Let me know down in the comments below. Did you see Avatar 2? Did you like it? Are you excited for the movies? Tell me what you think about it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.